Welcome to Cloud Moon New Beginnings, Episode 49. Today we will enjoy a story by my friend Catherine Carrard. Catherine is an artist and Soul Collage Facilitator. So what is Soul Collage? In essence, Soul Collage is a simple yet deep creative method where we compose a collage on a small, usually about 5 by 8 inches, piece of cardstock, using images without words. Once the collage is complete, we discover it through a gentle process. It is a beautiful way to connect to ourselves and let our inner wisdom speak. This method was created by Sina Frost in the 80s, and today we are more than 6,000 facilitators worldwide. This approach has many layers like us and offers endless possibilities to create alone or in community at each person's own rhythm.
Bonjour, bienvenue. The story you are about to hear began its life in 2022. Let me tell you how it was born and how it found its way to you today. It all started very simply, with a writing exercise inspired by a book by Alessandro Baricco, 3 times at dawn. Here was a situation I was given. A woman in a yellow evening dress steps out of a taxi in front of a hotel. My instruction was to write her entrance into the hotel lobby and to imagine whether she stays in her solitude or opens to someone else. I did not know that book at all, so I reread the full excerpt and then I let this woman in the yellow dress infuse my inner world, swirling through my ideas and sensations. And because Soul Collage is part of my life, I reached for my deck and drew a card at random. The one that appeared was a card with a zebra, an actress, and a blue parrot. I smiled, feeling a little spark of magic in the air. I wondered who was going to come to meet me. The blue parrot looked at me and settled on my shoulder. We stayed a long time without saying a word. And then the story revealed itself. My pen began to dance across the pages, and the story was born. Very quickly, the atmosphere took shape. The colors, the characters, the setting, the sounds. So today, I hope you will enjoy listening to it through the soothing voice of my dear friend Priscilla Yokote, whom I thank deeply. We are all shaped by life, by nature, and by the people we meet, and each inspiration carries its own unique flavor. Our imagination connects us, just as our lives do. My heartfelt thanks to Priscilla for translating my story, originally written in French, and for bringing La Jarre de Lune Hotel and the Blue Parrot to life through image and sound. And now, let's listen to our beautiful storyteller, Priscilla.
Jarre de Lune Hotel and the Blue Parrot. A rental car pulled onto the dirt road and stopped in front of a large wooden house, bathed in morning light. A woman of average height, dressed in a sunflower yellow dress, got out of the vehicle. She was barefoot. Her toenails sparkled like mother-of-pearl shells in the sun. She shook her long honey-brown hair, adjusted her glasses on her nose, and looked around. Yes, this was indeed where she had her appointment, at Jarre de Lune Hotel. Everything seemed calm and peaceful. A light breeze made a chime sound hanging from a tree near the entrance. The air was filled with the scent of eucalyptus. Invisible birds chirped in the surrounding foliage. The woman in the sunflower yellow dress picked up a pair of sandals and slipped them into her canvas bag that she slung over her shoulder. She locked the car door and walked purposefully towards the hotel. A screen covered with translucent rice paper stood in the entrance on the left. On the right was a wooden shelf with 2 pairs of shoes on it. The woman in the sunflower yellow dress turned and looked outside. She took a breath of warm air, closed her eyes, and smiled. Suddenly, she sensed a presence and slowly turned around. A man of indeterminate age, dressed in a midnight blue kimono, leaned forward slightly and welcomed her. They acknowledged each other with their eyes in silence and smiled. The man took a chair from behind the screen and placed it a little way back from the entrance. He asked the woman in the sunflower yellow dress to sit down and wait a few moments. The ageless man disappeared behind the screen and returned with a tray laden with a carafe of water, a glass, and a bowl of fruit. He poured the water into the glass, taking care to drop in a slice of orange and lemon, then handed it to the visitor. He bowed and withdrew. The woman in the sunflower yellow dress raised the glass to her lips and inhaled the tangy aroma of citrus. She savored the precious, fragrant water in small sips, stretching her long, muscular legs. She realized how thirsty she was after the long journey to get here. She got up and took a few steps into the room adjoining the entrance. The walls were sand-colored with hints of pink. A carousel horse, placed on its pedestal, seemed ready to gallop. Large open windows let in the breeze and the sounds of the morning. In the middle of the room, a sea green sofa, 2 white armchairs, and a simple wooden table invited relaxation. The atmosphere exuded elegance and harmony. Behind the sofa, she spotted a sculpture that resembled Rodin's Danaide. Suddenly, a door slid open. A young woman dressed in a pink silk tunic entered and crossed the room towards the entrance. She looked at the woman in the sunflower yellow dress and said, "You came." And without another word, she left the room. The woman in the sunflower yellow dress stood there, stunned, as a wave of heat washed over her. She looked around for a seat and sat down in one of the armchairs. Her heart was pounding. She forced herself to focus on her breathing and gradually regained her composure. But a dull pain in her hips forced her to remain seated. Her last horseback stunt had gone wrong. Due to an unfortunate miscommunication, her horse had spooked and thrown her off as quickly as a summer lightning bolt, forcing her to rest and take a step back from filming. Just then, the chime swayed, emitting soft, melodious sounds. The woman in the pink silk tunic reappeared, carrying a cactus, which she placed in the hallway. Then she walked over to the woman in the sunflower yellow dress and placed a hand on her shoulder. Lost in her thoughts, the woman jumped and tried to get up, but a sharp pain prevented her. The woman in the pink silk tunic pulled up a chair and sat down opposite her. Without a word, she placed her hands on the hips of the woman in the sunflower yellow dress and began to sing a song that seemed to come from the depths of the earth. Approaching silently, the ageless man dressed in a midnight blue kimono placed a tray with a steaming bowl on the table. The smell of medicinal herbs spread through the room. Suddenly, a blue parrot flew in through the window and landed on the edge of the sea green sofa. It watched the scene of the 2 women and the ageless man for a long time. Then, with a flap of its wings, it landed delicately on the head of the woman in the sunflower yellow dress. Long minutes passed like this. The chime played its sweet music. Someone entered, took off their shoes, and waited before stepping further into the room. The parrot flew away and landed once more on the edge of the sea-green sofa. The woman in the pink silk tunic stopped singing. Only then did the person in the doorway approach and place a white feather, a jar of amber honey, and a spoon with a carved handle at the feet of the two women. Then she untied a red veil from her waist, as light as a butterfly's flutter. She twirled it in the air and placed it before the blue parrot. The parrot took it in its beak and disappeared out the window. The ageless man, dressed in a midnight blue kimono, smiled and offered the still steaming bowl to the woman in the sunflower yellow dress. The person with the offerings climbed onto the carousel horse and galloped away. The air was filled with the scent of eucalyptus. Invisible birds chirped in the surrounding foliage. This is how things are done in this part of the world, as long as the blue parrot is passing through le Jarre de Lune Hotel. Thank you, Catherine, for sharing your story. And thank you for joining us on Cloud Moon New Beginnings. For more information about Catherine and Soul Collage, please check the comments below this video.